There are plenty of great racing circuits dotted around the world, with the exception of the Sochi Autodrome perhaps. However, in the virtual world, free from the constraints of geography, finances, or neighbours making noise complaints to their local council, designers have been creating amazing tracks that I for one would love to see in the real world. And who knows, if Sean Bratches is telling the truth that 40 circuits want to join the F1 calendar, then maybe, just maybe, one of these could conceivably become a reality. There's no real scientific basis for any of this list, just some realistic and pretty interesting looking circuits. So let's go. These are 5 virtual circuits that need to be built for real. In the modern world of motorsport, street circuits seem to be the place to be. F1 has made no secret of its desire to race in London over the years, so why not use the tourist twist circuit from Project Gotham Racing 4? It's a surprisingly high-speed track that follows the real-world streets of London, taking in sites such as Buckingham Palace, the Palace of Westminster and Trafalgar Square. The circuit itself poses a few places to pass the car in front, such as the first corner from the Mall to Spur Road and Birdcage Walk, or in the hard braking zone of Parliament Square. Organising a race in one of the world's busiest cities might be a slight challenge, as would navigating the traffic islands and the endless tourists that have gotten lost and wandered onto the track. But with Silverstone activating its F1 brake clause, could the tourist twist become a reality? Road Trip Adventure is one of those games that really puts the fantasy into fantasy racetrack. Be it a circuit set in a volcano, on a beach, in the sky, or even running through the middle of a theme park, Road Trip Adventure's tracks are always entertaining. However, one of the few tracks that could modestly be called realistic is the Endurance Run. The circuit itself is a real challenge, featuring a mix of high and low speed corners made ever more difficult by the game's charmingly wonky physics engine. 2 hairpins provide overtaking opportunities, with the grandstands, gravel traps and pit lanes already in place for a major championship. Although that being said, I have a feeling the FIA might want the tunnel to be a little less lethal before they let Formula 1 drivers go through it. One little thing to notice is that this circuit is extremely tough on fuel consumption, especially for cars that have jet engines bolted onto the back of them. But anyway, I digress. While some may consider the track to be in the top 3 most bland in the game, probably beating only the oval and slick track, there's no denying that watching a Formula 1 car fly around the endurance run at full pelt would be a serious thrill. If only they could come up with a more interesting name for it. Since its inception in 2005, the Forza Motorsport series has quickly established itself as one of the biggest and most successful racing game franchises in history, with an eclectic selection of real-world cars and circuits to experience, assuming you're willing to pay for it, that is. Anyway, as well as having some of the mightiest real tracks on planet Earth to play with, there's also plenty of fictitious circuits, where the designers at Turn 10 Studios were let loose before they turn their attention to yet another DLC pack. Of these circuits, it has to be the Maple Valley Raceway that gets the nod, set deep in the fictional woods of New England. The leaves of the many trees lining the circuit, gently swirling in the autumnal breeze, may trick you into thinking that this circuit is about as sedate as a Sunday drive along the A52 from Hogsthorpe to Sutton-on-Sea, but first impressions can be deeply deceiving indeed. The Maple Valley Raceway is a sensationally fast circuit, featuring long, sweeping bends, huge undulations and varying cambers to challenge drivers and cars alike. There may not be an abundance of overtaking opportunities on this circuit, but it is one that rewards bravery and commitment. The latter stages of the lap are filled with a sequence of 4 corners that should probe the mechanical setup of a car, much like the opening sector at the Circuit of the Americas. As for its F1 credentials, there's no doubting that some of the aggressive curbs would need to be adjusted to prevent the cars rolling as often as they do in Forza, but otherwise it's good to go. The picturesque scenery should make for a perfect backdrop to a Formula 1 race too. The only problem with a Forza Formula 1 race is that once you've paid for your entry ticket, you'll then have to purchase the extra DLC to be able to watch each of the other teams. I'm kidding, don't worry. But anyway, just imagine it. A Formula 1 car blasting its way through the roller coaster corners, kicking up the leaves scattered on the small grassy runoff area. Perfect. The Need for Speed series has almost always been about illegal street racing, with the exception of Pro Street and those awful shift games. So it may come as a surprise to some that Need for Speed Underground 2 features one of the finest virtual circuits in existence. I'm not talking about some insane street circuit, but instead the Bayview Speedway, a permanent circuit nestled deep in the Cole Harbour industrial hub to the south of the city. Mind you, the tree-lined nature of this circuit's backdrop would fool you into thinking that this place was nowhere near the massive nuclear power station. The circuit is used in 5 different configurations throughout the game for the Underground Racing League races, or URL for short. For this video though, we're only looking at the longest version. This track features numerous places to pass the car in front, from the heavy braking for the tight first chicane to the hairpin halfway around the track. Aside from those 2 big braking zones, the rest of the lap is a high-speed affair, culminating in a dizzying, tyre-torturing 270-degree right-hander. As for its F1 credentials, it's probably safe to say that the runoff areas need some work, and a bit more spectator space wouldn't go amiss. On top of that, the run out of the chicane might need to be flattened somewhat to stop Formula 1 cars getting airborne. Otherwise, it's a hugely exciting, challenging circuit that would offer excellent racing opportunities in the real world, just as long as it hasn't been taken over by some chance and hideously modified Peugeots. Again. Over the course of racing game history, no series can match the unrivaled success and staying power of the Gran Turismo series. From its roots way back in 1997, Gran Turismo has set the standard for quality console gaming simulations without resorting to the desperate tactics of others I could mention. The eclectic mix of real and fantasy circuits in the Gran Turismo series is a joy, but whilst the Grand Valley Speedway often gets the plaudits from the pundits, I think that the Apricot Hill Raceway is more than deserving of a shot of becoming a real track. Debuting in 1999's Gran Turismo 2, Apricot Hill Raceway immediately became a fan favourite thanks to its fast, flowing, undulating nature, as well as instantly having the feel of a proper Grand Prix level circuit. The 2.4 mile track features a sweeping S's section before a tight hairpin and tight chicane to produce close racing, but that isn't even the circuit's party piece. Oh no. Apricot Hill Raceway can be run in either direction, so could it be possible in the future to see the direction of the track alternate each year it hosts a Formula 1 race? I say, why not? Keeping drivers and engineers alike on their toes while changing the alternating circuit dynamic that F1 has with Hockenheim and, well, no one these days. The circuit is pretty much F1 ready, more so than any other track we've mentioned in this video so far. So Sean Bratches, if you're watching, how about letting this lot loose on the F1 calendar, eh? And for all you watching, what other virtual circuits would you like to see become a reality? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and as a little aside, bonus points if you get any of the tracks from F1 race stars in Formula 1. Completely impractical, I know, but it would be fun to see Pastor Maldonado doing a loop-the-loop around the Monaco swimming pool. Just saying.